It started on a generic Tuesday in the middle of Mr. Henderson's geometry class, the kind of day you forget the moment it ends. Maya, the quiet girl who sat in the third row, just stopped. She didn't freeze exactly, she just stopped closing her eyes. At first, nobody noticed because you don't really pay attention to how often people blink until they've stopped doing it entirely. It was subtle, just an intense stare at the chalkboard, but by the second hour, her eyes had started to glaze over with tears. By lunch, they were a road map of red veins, bloodshot and bulging against the fluorescent lights. I sat across from her in the cafeteria, watching tears stream down her cheeks simply because her body was begging for moisture, but she wouldn't give in. I asked her if she was okay, if she needed the nurse, but she didn't turn her head. She didn't shift her gaze. She just whispered, barely loud enough for me to hear, "Don't close them. If you close them, he moves." I laughed it off nervously, looking around the bright, crowded cafeteria. "Who moves, Maya?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just kept her eyes peeled open, her knuckles white as she gripped the edge of the table. That afternoon, she was sent home. We heard the rumors, a mental breakdown, drugs, a seizure, but I couldn't shake the terror in her voice when she said, "He moves." 2 days passed and Maya didn't come back to school. I decided to drop off her homework, mostly because I was nosy, but partly because I felt a strange cold dread I couldn't explain. Her mom answered the door, looking exhausted and pale. She told me Maya was in her room, that she hadn't slept and hadn't closed her eyes in over 50 hours. The doctors were baffled. Sedatives didn't work because her brain refused to shut down. I went up to her room. It was pitch black, the curtains drawn tight. "Maya?" I called out into the void. "It's too dark," she croaked from the corner. "I can't see him if it's dark, but I can hear him breathing." I flipped the light switch before thinking. Maya screamed, a sound I'll never forget. She was sitting in the corner, her eyelids literally taped open with surgical tape. "I had to," she shrieked. "I was getting tired." But as the light flooded the room, I saw it, just for a split second, a tall, pale figure, its face completely smooth except for a mouth that was stretched impossibly wide. It was inches from her face. I blinked, just a reflex, a millisecond of darkness. When my eyes opened, the figure was gone, and Maya was slumped over, gone. The police called it a psychotic break, but I know the truth, and now, as I tell you this story, my eyes are starting to burn. They feel dry, and I swear there is a shadow standing in the corner of my room, waiting for me to rest.